Right, welcome back. It is time for us to have a look at what is being reported in our papers this morning. And starting us off with the Daily Nation, I see the very top story here, harsh reality of new varsity fees. Funding model wars. Students and their families are being forced to choose university courses they can afford rather than those they qualify for and aspire to study under the new funding model introduced last year. Investigations by the Nation show. Meanwhile, first-year students who were first to use the model have already accumulated huge fee balances, which are set to increase even further as they progress. This is a story on page 7 of the Daily Nation. And moving on, I see here still on the top story, very, very sad. The question is, did they have to die? Bringing forth a new life into the world is a joyful moment for a mother and her family. Goes on to say the cry of a newborn marks a new beginning and signals hope for an exciting life ahead. But when the mother dies during childbirth, this joy and hope is cut short, casting a long shadow of tragedy, grief, and uncertainty on her family. This trend has been growing in Kenya in recent years, leaving newborns without mothers to care for them and thrusting partners into confusion of immeasurable proportions. Well, each death profound loss ripples through the families and communities, with the 2022 Kenya Demographic and Health Survey estimating that 362 maternal deaths occur per 100,000 live births in the country. And this is a story well told in the Healthy magazine, which is very, very, very sad. The Healthy Nation magazine has given us that story and, just looking into how can we make the situation better and avoid so many deaths when mothers are giving birth. And moving on, still on the top story, I see making history. Kenyan woman becomes first black mayor in Northern Ireland city. Interesting. Lillian Senoi Barr, a Kenyan woman who made history after being elected councillor in Northern Ireland, United Kingdom, was yesterday inaugurated as the first black mayor of Derry and Strabane District Councils. This is on page 2. Beautiful, beautiful story right there. And just looking more on it, introductory notes here saying originally from Narok, Kenya, Lillian has dedicated her life to championing human rights, social justice, and community cohesion. What an honor. What a beautiful honor. A story on page 2. And I see here also page 3, inside police operation to seize motorist who assaulted officer. This is really, really sad. Following his phone signal, officers concerned suspect Ian Njoroge at a flat in Eastlands where his friend lives. An independent police oversight authority boss Anne McCorry here saying Kenyans who feel disgruntled about policing services or police officers should lodge their complaints with authority for investigations rather than assaulting or beating up these police officers. But look at this story on page 3. Page 4, I see trade lobby urges MPs to reduce motor vehicle tax. Cham wants Parliament to cut the proposed motor vehicle tax from 2.5% to 1%, and that is off the cost of the vehicle. Mr. Maxwell Okello here saying we propose a compromise that motor vehicle tax be reduced to 1% based on the third-party insurance valuation. And moving on to page 5, insurers reject new taxes in finance bill. Introduction of value-added tax on insurance services and motor vehicle tax is bad for the industry, says lobby. I see here committee chairman Kimani Kuria pledges to strike a balance in their recommendations to the House. Story on page 5. And moving to page 6, I see tanker blast, injured driver ignored calls not to ignite vehicle. This is really, really sad. I see here LPG tanker exploded at Feather Stage on busy Outer Ring Road. Eyewitness saying when the tanker hit the railway, smoke started billowing from the vehicle and we realized it was a gas leakage. Very, very, very unfortunate. And I see here at 12:16 p.m. always going on as usual at the Feather bus stop along the bus Outer Ring, busy Outer Ring Road. 5 minutes later, a huge LPG tanker took a left turn from the Outer Ring Road and headed to the service lane next to the Feather bus stop. Really, really sad. It is said that actually a call had been made for the driver not to ignite the vehicle. It says here, do not go for the vehicle. The lorry will explode. Young men recording the clip could be heard beseeching the driver. But this is really sad because it ended up in an explosion. A story on page 6. And moving to page 10, I see judge directs inquest file of British tycoon to be reopened. Justice Onginjo says it was irregular for the magistrate to give ruling without notice to advocates. And moving on to the back page, I see conservationist win as order on Aberdare Road is extended. Respondents have been given 21 days to file and serve their applications. I see here court case why petitioners are against road has been well elaborated. The conservationist had argued that the project would have harmful and irreversible environmental, economic and cultural impacts on the Aberdare ecosystem. Story on the back page. And going to the sports page, I see here page 32, World Athletics announces new global event. It will feature world champions, Olympic champions, Diamond League winners, and the year's best performing athletes against each to crown the ultimate champion. A story on page 31. And page 30, I see Great Determination won Kenya Sevens swift promotion. I see Kenya returns to a much changed terrain in the World Rugby 7 series that requires great effort and skill to survive in. Page 30. And page 29 here, I see Burundi test for stars as Ivorian Giants loom. German-born defender Nost could play his first match for Kenya on Thursday. And moving on to the Standard here, I see the very top story is don't gamble with tax. Captains of industry are warning the government that tinkering with the taxation regime will lead to businesses shutting down, massive job losses, further increase in cost of living, and failure by the taxman to grow tax collections, which negates the whole sense of collection. This is on page 4. And I see here Maxwell Okello saying, who is the CEO, American Chamber of Commerce, and Asema the proposed rate of 2.5% will spawn in addition to the other taxes, fees and levies applicable on motor vehicles proves extremely punitive. Agnes Mukuha, who is the IATA country manager East Africa, saying by keeping all aircraft at VAT exempt status, domestic travel will increase in volume. Still on the top page of the Standard, I see Ruto Gachagua tiff putting country in election mode. This is on page 10. Daunting task for Mexico's new president, also on World, page 36. And then I see Africa pushes back on global financial order. That is on the business page. Still on the top page, LSK sues Linturi over fertilizer saga. Law Society of Kenya has dragged the minister to court, arguing that he has a stake on what transpired and is equally to blame for fake fertilizer scandal. And then still on the top page, I see rage why motorists beat up policemen. I see suspect accused of beating up a traffic officer says he was angry over his demands and decided to resolve the matter physically, opening the debate of safety of officers on duty. A story that we also covered in the Daily Nation. And I see here page 2, Senators Mal locking out IEBC Vice Chair from running Paul Body. The IEBC Act states that whenever a vacancy occurs in the office of the chairperson, the Vice Chair shall act as the chair until such a time the chairperson is appointed. I see IEBC Amendment Bill 2024 seeks to bar the commission vice chairperson from assuming the chairperson position automatically. This is a story that is on page 2. And moving on page 3, I see cases of advanced HIV in Kenya set off alarm bells. It's really, really sad. I see here it is estimated that more than 50% of HIV AIDS-related deaths are associated with advanced HIV disease. Patients with advanced HIV have damaged immune system, which results in death. This is really, really unfortunate, and we need to be more careful. And I see here causes of advanced HIV disease, treatment disruption, late diagnosis of HIV, and also resistance. So we have 18,473 AIDS deaths reported in 2022 alone in Kenya. And in 2005, we had 110,000 people who died of AIDS in 2005. And then now 1,377,784 people are living with HIV in the country. We ought to be careful. And I see here, page 4, private sector opposes finance bill, says it is a recipe for job loss. Look at that story on page 4. And page 5, shipping lines threaten to hike freight charges over new levies. KPA said it will charge at least $27,000, that is $200, for solid waste management from ships, calling to at the port on behalf of the Mombasa county government effective May 15th. And the ships are to pay $2, that is 270 shillings per 100 tons based on a gross registered tonnage, and the minimum charge shall be $200 in Kenyan shillings, 27,000 Kenyan shillings. And pieces 6 and 7 is the guy here, Ian Njoroge, who is just 19 years old. Assault on a policeman sparks debate on conduct and also safety. I see here Kinothia Waithera, who is a lawyer, saying 2 wrongs don't make a right. Violence should not be tolerated at any level. If they tortured him, IPOA and police should investigate and address the issues. Let's go to the back page, which is the sports page. World Rugby 7 Series welcomes Kenya with open arms. After 1 year in the cold, Shujaa returned to World Rugby 7 Series. How youngsters led Kenya back to the top or World Rugby. Look at that story on page 48. And moving on to page 47, European Club Finals heroes adjusts sights to World Cup in Africa. Kenya are among 17 nations who must stage home matches at neutral venues. Former star George is not short of talent ahead of his competitive debut in Nigeria. And 46 here, I see here, page 46, focus on Olympics trials as stars post mixed results in Stockholm. So Kenyan stars face strong challenge from British and Ethiopian athletes. Edina Jabitok and Vivian Chebet finished second in 1500 meter and 800 meter race respectively. And moving on to the Business Daily, lastly, I see the very top story here is best worst counties to get quality jobs. This is from the World Bank. I see services replace industry in creating well-paying jobs. 2/3 working in agriculture in 12 of 47 counties. I see also here locals beat Chinese firms in 8.9 billion shilling last mile power deals. This is a story on page 2 of the Business Daily. And of course, the back page, which has the last word. The last word is from Mark Cuban, American businessman and film producer. And it says, always look for the fool in the deal. If you don't find one, it's you. Okay, wow. Leo wameamua, they come directly. But anyway, that's it for the newspaper review, and you can grab a copy of your favorite. But tune into Hope FM at the top of every hour. We have news updates. And as Gigi in absentia always says, this helps us to know how to pray for our country and also to know what is happening. So it is important for us to pray for our nation, pray for our president, pray for your country, because as your country prospers, you too shall prosper. So let us now have a look at the video of the day.